Okay. Hi, Christine. Hi, Dee. I went into a different way, and so I can see the chats. If anybody has any questions. So in our last live video tutorial, I talked about taking your a fabric panel or quilt panel that you might have and turning it into a quilt using EQ. And I thought I could show you how to bring in the picture of the panel actually into your quilt. Cute arrow. I'm not, is my arrow working? Yep. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So because I was working in a quilt project before, I'm going to go back in, and it's this one at the top. Up the top is the most recent ones. And I'm going to just open that. I'm going to come into the quilts, and I had two, so I'm just going to pick the first one and pick edit. Excuse me. And my goal is to get a panel into this center section. So I am going to go along this top here, and all the way down the end on the right is the image work table, and I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to come on the left where it says import image. Excuse me. Now, I've already downloaded an image of a panel. You can take a picture, download the image. So I'm going to, and you got to put that on your desktop or in your downloads, wherever you keep your pictures. So I'm going to bring that panel in. So excuse me for 1 minute. Someone is saying that I have a lot of feedback. Am I getting it? Am I getting feedback now? Are you getting feedback now? Because before I had a speaker on and I shut it off. So Christine, if you could just tell me quickly, are you still getting feedback? Okay. Excuse me. So the first thing I have to do on this picture is make sure that I don't have any white space around this. So there's a tool on the left-hand side that has it has a crop on it, and I'm hesitating only because I'm making sure I don't have. Yes, I'm not sure. Yes, yes, I have feedback. Yes, it's okay now. I'm not sure. Okay, I shut off a microphone, and just turned it back on. So if you didn't have anything, then we have no microphone. So, okay, excuse me. So back to our panel. I'm going to come over to the left where it says crop. Pardon me, lost my mouse again. There we go. Right here where it says crop. And now you can see all this white space I would have had. So I'm just going to bring the little sides in, and I'm just clicking and dragging them in, bringing that little bit up on the bottom. And then once I have it how I want it, I'm going to come back to the left, and I'm going to apply crop. And I'm going to now save this to my sketchbook. So right from this screen, I can come up to the top and go back to my, are you getting that stay home little house up there? I got to do something about that. I got to, get up to this top work table, quilt work table. I'm going to click on that. Now I'm back to my quilt, but along this top, remember we used the block tools to put in the blocks, the fabric tools to put in the fabric colors. I'm coming over to this photo tool. Hi, Deb. And I'm going to, when I click on it, here's the photo that I have, and don't be worried about this big white part here. I'm just going to bring this in and stick it right there in the center. So now I can build up my quilt based on my picture. So now I can go back to my fabrics tool. So if I want to change these fabrics, maybe I want to have a little more blue in there. So I'm just going to use some of my basic colors. I'm going to click on this blue. I'm going to use my swap color tool. Hi, Linda. I'm going to use my swap color tool, and I'm going to change all the greens. Oh, let's change the pinks to the blue. Well, that's kind of boring. So I didn't like that. So I can hold my control down and Z, or you can come over to the left and use undo. And now I'm going to do it on the green. Now I can't say I like that much better. So let's try and get another color. Because remember, I haven't saved anything yet, so it's not the end of the world yet. And I'm going to change the pink. And then I'm going to change this little border to, here we go. So let's see how that looks. Now, on every screen, it might look a little different. I'm going to say that, okay, I like this one, okay, and I'm going to save it. So I'm going to go add to projects. Okay, and so I've saved that. Now I'm going to change this block again. So I'm going to come back to my block tools up at the top. And I'm just going to pick something simple again. So let's pick, did I go get anything new? Let's go get another new block. So I'm going to go to this open library. And I'm in my blocks again. And let's see what's under the 5 patch. Excuse me. Nobody can yell out what they want to have, but you can type it in. Let's see what's under old favorites. That doesn't look like any old favorites of mine. Let's see, 2 patch. Okay, let's try this Roman stripe 5, just for the heck of it. I'm going to add it to my sketchbook, and I'm going to close this. And here's my new block. I'm going to hold down my control key so it puts them in everywhere. Now let's see what happens when I rotate these. Nothing pretty. Oh, there we go. Let's do this then. Oh. Well, that's kind of nice. Now let's do the other side. And we're pointing in. No, that's pointing. There we go. Oh, there we go. Hope I had that one right. Move the wrong one. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Now, this, oh, I think we had an odd number here. Let's see how these go. All right, I've got them upside down. Oh. So what I have to remember if I look at it, do you see how you got that little bit of blue at the end? So I've got to look at that blue and get that to the end because following the green didn't work out so well. So there we go. So now I need to color it in. And again, I'm going to use my, so I'm going to go to my fabric tool. I'm going to put my swap tool is on. This time I'm going to use my paintbrush, and I'm going to pick this green color. The first thing I want to do is color my corners, so I'm going to hold down my control to get all the corners at once. Now I'm going to do this green, and if I hold down the control, it does the same, not necessarily the same color, but the same strip or the same piece in this block on all the blocks. And let's see, let's pick a blue. And let's see if we've got I might have to go the other way, a yellow. And a little, let's see, let's go with this darker one. We had just had that one. And then the lighter one. And then let's do that green again. You notice I'm picking from right off of these chips right here. And this isn't colored yet, so I need to give that a color. Let's see if a light blue will work. We'll give that a whirl. And I think this is kind of dark, so let's see if we can make that a little lighter. And maybe the four corners. And let's save that. So I'm going to go over to my sketchbook where the book and the plus is. The question is, can you eyedrop the photo to find a color? No, you cannot. This is simply a total picture, but I'll try and see what we get. Oh, we got black. Well, that wasn't good. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, because it doesn't see a color. So I want to get that off my paintbrush. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to try this with a gray. So, I'm not sure. It's not doing it for me. Oh, it brought us over. When I hit the eyedropper on the picture, it brought us to the colors. You see at the bottom left where there's color tab and fabric tab. It brought me over to the color tab. So let's see if we can liven this up a little. And I'm going to go in and do the swap color, and I'm going to use that red, and I'm going to take that one. Well, that livened it up maybe a little more than I wanted to. So there's another option that you can save, because remember, you haven't quilted this quilt. You're just looking at the pictures of it. So anybody have any questions on the image work table? Okay, I'm going to go back to the sketchbook, and now you can see, and I can make them bigger. Oh, this way. So I can scroll through one at a time. Okay, so we have 5. So let's take a vote. Do you like 4 or 5? So if you could put your answer in the comments, 4 or 5. So I can see we'll get rid of one so I can show you another technique that we can use in the electric quilt software. I haven't got any votes yet. Okay, so it's 4 or 5. Well, I can't decide, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring these all in, and let's say, okay, I want to get rid of this very first one. Okay, I got even voting so far. You're tied for 4 and 5. Oh, 4's coming in the lead now. Let's see, one more might break the tie. I might do it. Okay, I'm going to take this first one and I'm going to delete it. Once I delete, there's no undo for delete. But what I wanted to show you is so I'm deciding I'm going to keep these 4 quilts. And if I look in my blocks, do you see all the blocks that I have? And if I look in my fabrics, you see all the fabrics that I have? And it goes on and on and on and on and on. Once I've determined what quilts I'm going to keep, so let's say I'm going to get rid of this first one too. Okay, yes, Deb, there's 3 votes, and you said that, but you didn't vote. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And now I have these 3 left. So I'm going to keep them. Okay, so let's see. Yes, there are three votes. So I'm going to keep these 3 for the moment until and see if anybody else votes. But what I want to do is I want to get rid of all the fabrics and things that I don't want, I'm not using. So I'm just going to go into this quilt for a minute. I'm going to come over to the far left under File, and I'm going to go Compress Project File Size. And I have an option here. I can delete the unused blocks, fabrics, and everything, or I can just delete the unused fabric. Well, I want to delete everything I didn't, and it doesn't mean just this quilt that I have up, but everything that I have in the 3 quilts that I have. Any fabrics or blocks that I used in those 3 quilts will remain. So I'm going to say okay. And then when I come back into view my sketchbook and I go to my blocks, do you see now? I only have the blocks that I used. I only have the fabrics that I used. And again, if I had more photos, I only have the photos that I used. Okay? So the winner is block 4. So quilt 4. So that is this quilt. So what I'm going to do is, and normally I wouldn't do this. I would simply save the other ones unless I really didn't like them. But let's say I'm going to get rid of number 5. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to get rid of now it's number 1 because I have number 1, number 2. So I'm going to get rid of number 1. So now I only have left the quilt that I wanted to keep or wanted to work on. Now if I go in and edit, work table quilt, well, I better, let me go back and save that because I made a change apparently. So let me go back again here. Okay, so I need to get rid of this one. So I'm going to delete it. Yes. I'm going to edit this one. Now I'm going to come back over under File. I'm going to do that compress again, deleting everything I didn't use. So now I'm going to go back, and you see, that's all I have left because that's the only blocks I used in this quilt. That's the fabrics that I used in that quilt. Oh, no, I got more fabric. So let's find out why I would have, because of this block. If I look at this block and I right click on it and I do select coloring, do you see now I have 3 of them? So if I want to get rid of this block, let's see if I'm going to, no, I can't. This coloring is used on the current quilt. So let me go back to the quilt and see if I used it. I don't see it anywhere. So we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to mess this up more than I have. So, we can do an experiment. So when I go into the blocks, if I hit delete, and let's see what happens. I'm going to delete it. Now it only took away that color. So let's make sure when I look at my quilt, everything seems to be fine. So now I can go ahead and do my file, compress file. Okay. Now when I go back, there's my blocks. There's my fabrics that I used. So now I know I have nothing in here that I didn't use in this quilt. So I'll go into edit again, and if I want to know how much fabric it takes to make this, I'm going to go into the print and export, and under this I have a place where it says yardage. And I'm just going to preview it. And we're being a little slow today. And let me zoom in so you can see it. So here's my chart. This tells me if I'm my template for all my patches, how many patches there are. So this is my yardage estimate. So if it says 3/8, I would go to a half. The quarter and the eighth, I might go to a half. It depends. Let's go back and see how it looks. So yes, the part of the yellow, let me see if I can zoom in here. So this yellow isn't very big, so it wouldn't take much fabric. But and looking at this block, I know that I can paper piece this block. So I want to click on, I'm in the print, I'm going to come down to foundation. I have to select the block, foundation, and there's my paper piecing foundation to print this. So I can just do a preview, and I can fit 2 on a page, and I can just print this out, and I can paper piece. The numbers are already on there for you. So I could paper piece it. I could rotary cut it. And this is a list of all the colors and what size they'll be. So going across this way, this measurement here is the width of the strip. And then each of these is telling you how to cut that strip. So if I zoom in here, so this is going to be cut 4 7/8. This has a little 45-degree angle on it. So to me, in this case, it would be easier to do the paper piecing. So does anybody have any questions? I'll wait a minute or so to see if you have any questions. A lot of times on your fabric panels, if you go to the company that made your panel, whether it's Moda, Marcus Brothers, or Timeless Treasures, or whoever it is, generally they'll have a thumbnail for that, for all the fabrics in the line or that panel, but you can always take a picture of it with your phone or whatever, and put that picture in, just like I did. Take the picture, get it onto your desktop of your computer, and then just bring it in from there. So I'm checking to see if I don't see any further questions. So tomorrow's class is at 11, tomorrow Saturday the 18th. Live classes at 11. It'll be on YouTube again. And I'm going to show you, I'll have my camera set up with my sewing machine and my cutting mat and so forth. And I'm going to show you how to make a disappearing 9 patch and a disappearing 4 patch. So that's our plan for tomorrow. I'll ask one more time if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'll put a notice on Facebook like I did today, with a link reminding you. I believe if you subscribe to me here on YouTube and then you ring the little bell or click on the bell will remind you when I put up a new video, whether it's a live or whether it's just a recorded one, because I will put up some recorded ones. This live one will turn into a recording that you'll be able to get back later. I made a playlist for EQ under my playlist, so I'm trying to categorize them for you so you'll be able to find them. So everyone have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.